As health savings accounts have become quite popular, many people are asking, what's the difference between a copay plan and an HSA-based plan? Both plans offer valuable insurance coverage to protect you from high-cost medical expenses. Let's look at their key components, their advantages, and their cost over time. On a copay plan, you and your employer pay a monthly premium to cover the cost of your health insurance. Then, when you go to the doctor or pick up a prescription drug, you pay a fixed cost called a copay, and the insurance company covers the rest. Copay plans also have a deductible. Once you've met your deductible, copay plans also have a co-insurance phase with cost sharing between you and your provider on high-cost medical expenses before you meet your max out-of-pocket. Once you've met your max out-of-pocket, insurance will then generally cover 100% of the balance. Just check with your plan for those details. Preventive services are generally covered at 100%. A typical copay plan looks something like this: $25 copay for an office visit, $10 copay for generic prescription drugs, $50 copay for brand name prescription drugs. Your deductible could be anywhere from $500 to $2,000, but for this example, let's use $500 for the deductible. 80% coinsurance. You pay 20%. $3,000 max out of pocket. To put a number out there, let's say that you and your employer pay $6,000 a year or $500 per month for this plan. Keep in mind, this number will vary based on several factors. Now let's talk about HSA-based plans. With an HSA-based plan, you often pay a lower premium in return for having a higher deductible. The key difference is that an HSA-based plan has two parts: insurance plus a health savings account. Your HSA is a personal, tax-free health savings account that can be used to pay for eligible medical expenses. Usage of your HSA funds may also count toward your deductible and coinsurance amounts. Remember, like any other insurance plan, you pay nothing for preventative care like annual checkups. Just like a copay plan, in an HSA-based plan, you would still have a deductible, coinsurance, and an out-of-pocket maximum. Since your deductible is higher in an HSA-based plan, you and your employer will save money. Let's say that by moving to a $1,500 deductible, you and your employer now pay $5,000 a year instead of the $6,000 a year in the copay plan. If that $1,000 is put into your HSA plan could look like this: $1,000 tax-free annual contribution into your HSA, $1,500 deductible, 80% coinsurance, $3,000 out-of-pocket maximum, $400 monthly premium. Let's consider an example of how these plans work side by side. Imagine you're changing a light bulb and take a nasty fall. It happens, and nobody plans on a painful, broken wrist. After a trip to the emergency room, surgery, and perhaps some physical therapy, you are feeling a bit better, but you now have a $10,000 medical bill to cover the services. In a traditional copay plan with a deductible of $500, you pay a copay for the ER, say $100, then you would need to pay $500 to meet your deductible. Finally, you would need to pay your portion of coinsurance, which is 20% of the remaining $9,500, $1,900. Then the insurance company would pay the rest. In this example, your out-of-pocket cost for this accident would be $2,500. On the other hand, or wrist, consider an HSA-based plan with a $1,500 deductible. That means you must pay $1,500 out of your own pocket before your insurance kicks in. Yes, $1,500 is a lot of money, but this is where having a health savings account will help you cover the cost of your medical expenses and help reach your deductible. Remember that you and your employer saved $1,000 a year by going to the HSA-based plan. If this money is deposited into your HSA, you have $1,000 a year to pay for medical expenses. So now, you have $1,000 to help you reach your deductible, and you need $500 to reach your deductible. Like the copay plan, you still have coinsurance, so you will need to pay 20% of the remaining $8,500 or $1,700, or a total of $2,200. $500 to reach your deductible that wasn't in your HSA, plus the $1,700. So when you compare the copay plan with the HSA-based plan, in this example, in the copay plan, your out-of-pocket costs would be $2,500, but in the HSA-based plan, your out-of-pocket costs were $2,200. Remember, your HSA is a health savings account that you can contribute money to and use for medical expenses tax-free, and these funds are yours even if you switch jobs. Your HSA spending may apply to your deductible and coinsurance if those expenses are covered by the plan, such as a broken wrist in this case. Your HSA can help you pay for qualified medical expenses like eyeglasses and dental work. But remember, these expenses will not apply to your deductible. On a traditional copay or an HSA-based plan, your worst-case scenario of reaching your out-of-pocket maximum could be very similar. The big advantage for an HSA-based plan is that you pay less money for your health insurance each month. The money in your HSA is your money to keep. Unused funds carry over each year and remain available when needed. It's truly a compelling, game-changing concept. For some perspective, did you know that in any given year, about 70% of people will spend $700 or less on medical care? This is good news if you have an HSA-based plan because HSA funds roll over every year and you get to keep whatever you don't spend. This ultimately encourages smart medical spending. HSA funds can also be invested for tax-free growth and investment earnings, creating a future financial asset as well as a rainy day fund for medical services. Over time, you can build up substantial savings in your HSA. Then, when you turn 65 years old, your HSA acts like a 401k and can be used as another retirement account. In summary, the best thing about an HSA-based plan is that it gives you a strategy to save up pre-taxed money to pay for large, unexpected medical expenses. As you can see, over time, you could have more money in your HSA than your deductible, which means you would not have to pay out of pocket to meet your deductible. We hope this helps you understand how the two plans work and how an HSA-based plan could provide you with a smarter strategy to pay for healthcare in the future.